Well, a group of local high school students is mentoring their younger peers about the harms of bullying, traveling to different elementary schools in an effort to spread kindness and compassion. And for more on the initiative, I'm joined by Emma Dong, grade 12 student at Harvard Collegiate. Emma, thanks a lot for taking time to speak with us. I'm just going to start off with this. What is bullying, and what have you witnessed, or maybe have you been bullied?
Of course. So I think a more textbook definition of what bullying is what we typically see in media. So bullying would just be the repeated harassment of an individual for a long period of time. However, in real life, it's a lot different from what we've usually been seeing on TV, or what maybe you hear your teachers talk about. What I've noticed personally among my peers is we've seen a lot of an increase in cyberbullying nowadays. So cyberbullying, while it does happen to be leaving hateful comments under somebody's page, it more commonly has become things like social media accounts that are usually meant for a school or a grade, called confessions accounts. This is a common form of bullying where students will send in anonymous confessions about other students in the grade, and then this account will post them anonymously for everybody to see. Now, this form of bullying, while it is more subtle, is just as impactful, and I've noticed it has caused so much damage within so many different school communities, and it's a big reason why the Caring and Safe Schools Committee at Harvard has decided to kind of try to nip it in the bud and address it in the younger grades.
Yeah, so along with that, Emma, there's this mentoring program that's rolling out. This is coming on board tomorrow, or coming online tomorrow. I need you to talk about why and how does this work?
So sorry, just to clarify, how does the Caring and Safe Roadshow work?
The mentoring program.
Oh, yeah. So what happened was we are a wonderful group of students at Harvard Collegiate who have come together, and we were brainstorming of ideas for how can we address this issue without seeming too distant. We wanted to be relatable, and we wanted to share stories of things that we've personally experienced, because we, as much as we are the ones who are mentoring and giving the presentation, are also students. And so what we did was we have a presentation, we incorporate a few jokes that we think they might find are funny, we incorporate a bunch of activities, and we essentially are creating a presentation that the students can engage with, things that we may have wished that we saw when we were younger, with messages that we feel are important for students of our age, but also we would have liked to hear when we were their age.
So what's happening tomorrow?
So tomorrow we will be going to Ryerson. We will be it would be me and a group of 3 other of my peers on the Caring and Safe Schools Committee, and we'll be giving our presentation. We have an accompanying slideshow. We go over, of course, the TDSB's definition of topics such as bullying, cyberbullying, peer pressure, exclusion, and discrimination. And we also have incorporated different activities. So we want it to be, our presentation is both a discussion where we are sharing what bullying is and some ways to combat it and some common examples, but we also oftentimes open it up to the audience, so to keep them engaged and to make sure that they are retaining as much as they possibly can. So for example, for the bullying, we give a overview of bullying and some common examples that we have seen among our peers and what may be something that's common with them. And then we open it up and say, what are some things that you guys feel bullying and cyberbullying have in common? What are some things that you think about when you hear the words bullying and cyberbullying?
And Emma, what can you tell us about the older student mentoring a younger student? How does this work? How does it come together? What does that mean for each of them?
So from my perspective as an older student mentor, I have found that it is so incredibly rewarding because I get to meet all kinds of students that remind me so much of myself, and I get to share some of the lessons that I've learned over my years at Harvard and my years up that I have on them, and I get to share some of that wisdom with someone who might be able to take it and avoid some of the mistakes that I have maybe made in the past. And from the perspective of a younger student, I remember having older mentors and having that be so much more significant than maybe a teacher or an adult, because it's someone who is so close to you in age, so they are both relatable, but you also know that they remember what it's like to be you, because for them it wasn't all that long ago. So they have this perspective and they have all this wisdom to share, and yet they're still able to make jokes with you, and you feel a lot more comfortable in that kind of dynamic with the student on student, rather than having it be a parent or a staff on a student, while those relationships are still equally just as important.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that, both the parent and, or teacher relationship or role. There's a lot that there's a big age gap, right? So, with that in mind, what can they do? If you're talking to us, as a student, what would be some best practices for them to keep in mind to help the students deal with this?
I think the biggest thing may be to be more open to just listening to students, or if you're a parent, to your children, rather than immediately seeking a solution. I think a lot of the times what keeps students and children from being as open about their feelings or about a struggle that they may be going through is the fear of the adult then feeling the need to take it into their own hands and deal with the situation and then the student is afraid of retaliation from their peers. So I think it's definitely to be keeping an eye out and being aware of the signs of when your child or student is being bullied. So if you notice a change in behavior, but then also reaching out and making it clear that you are here if they do want somebody to do something, but you're also here if they just need somebody to talk to. A lot of the times students just want to vent and feel better knowing that they have a support system without the fear of it escalating a situation.
Yeah, do you have a support system or like a mentor or a buddy that you could, share your bullying issues with and maybe get some advice?
I would love to mention our wonderful vice principal, Miss Bilikbashi, at this time. I remember when I was around grade 10, I was noticing some bullying in my peers, and she was the first person that I thought to go to and speak about it. She wasn't able to join us today on the Zoom call, but she has just been amazing and very graceful, and always makes it very clear that she is someone who is here to support me. And while she is able to take action, she also has been very fantastic in just listening. And she's always curious to learn more about what her students are going through. And she's just been fantastic. And,
as we begin to wrap up, for those students who are going through bullying or for the parents who see their kids being bullied, what do you want to say to them? Because it is messed up.
Of course. I think the most important thing to remember is that everything that is happening, while it is intense, you always, always, always have a support system there. And it can come in the form of amazing friendships. It can come in the form of your parents or a teacher that you really trust. And it can even be from Kids Help Phone or online. There are so many resources. And it's also important to remember that everything will come to pass, and I promise that it does get better. As a child, you experience things and they feel like they're the end of the world because you only have so much, you've only lived so much of your life. But going forward, this negative experience will just become a smaller and smaller portion, and you'll have so many good memories that it'll just all eventually blend into one, and you'll just be grateful that you were able to grow and learn from the experience.
And as we get ready to say goodbye, tell us about the event that's happening tomorrow and how other people can, either learn more or take part.
Of course. So the TDSB media will be there to film the presentation if you're interested in watching or maybe showing your child or your class. We also would love to have people reach out to us if they're interested in having us come to their school as well. We're hoping to expand beyond just Harvard's feeder schools and hopefully do more presentations. So you can always head to the TDSB website, and it should be there for tomorrow's presentation. We really do hope to reach as many young minds as possible. So it'd be fantastic if we could get that kind of engagement.
Emma Dong, grade 12 student at Harvard Collegiate. Thank you very much for your time this evening. And this was all incredibly well said. Good job and good luck tomorrow.
Thank you.